Hi guys, if you've been watching some of my other videos, you've kind of heard me roughly talk about how my health was really bad a couple months ago when I decided to move to Utah and drop out of college and all of these things. And that was honestly one of the bigger factors as to why I decided to leave college. The environment was detrimental to my health. Since finding out that I was having health issues, and it was specifically with my liver, I made a whole bunch of different changes just kind of to my lifestyle, to my diet, started implementing other things that were all, I would say, very like natural, holistic things, because I always like to take a more natural route with things before I jump right into like the doctors and the modern medications and all of those things. And by the time I got here and actually got into like the rheumatologist and everything, basically like they told me that what I was showing was very early signs of an autoimmune, and it wasn't late enough that they could really tell exactly which one it would be. But they did take all the tests again that they had already taken before that was showing that my liver was bad, and it came back that I had improved like drastically. Like I had improved a ton. My numbers that were super elevated had dropped by like half, which was just crazy. And I was really shocked because it was very validating to feel like if you're in a health journey, you know how validating it is to find out that something you're doing is working. The thing is I was doing so much stuff, I have no idea what I was doing that helped. But I wanted to share with you guys kind of the lifestyle changes that I've made that I think have made me feel better. Even if they haven't really changed anything, they've made me feel better and I've noticed a difference. For reference, I would say 3 or 4 months ago, especially 6 months ago, the people that were close to me in my life were telling me like, Michaela, you don't look good, you look super pale, you look kind of sick, you're really skinny. I was having a really hard time putting on weight. I was having a hard time like getting color. Like you could just tell my under eye bags were really bad. You could just tell that I wasn't healthy and I wasn't doing well, but I didn't know what was wrong. Like obviously my lifestyle had changed moving from Utah to Wyoming and losing a lot of my social outlets, my physical outlets. Losing all of those things definitely changed, but then like after being there for 2 years, you really could like see a physical difference. And at first, like to me, I was just like, oh, I'm just growing up. But to the people close to me in my life, they were like, you're not healthy. And now that I've been in Utah for 3 months, I don't think I look anywhere near the same as I did. And I've talked to multiple people who agree. They're like, you look different. Everyone who's close to me in my life was like, you look so much different than you did when you first moved here. You look different than you did 6 months ago. Like I see photos of you and videos of you and it's just like not even the same person. You can just tell from my appearance that I'm healthier now. So I wanted to kind of share some of these things with you guys. I would say one of the biggest things is that I took out gluten from my diet. When I found out that I was having like early autoimmune stuff, my mom kind of like went into her research doctor mode as moms do, and she was like, it sounds like no matter what autoimmune disease you have or potentially have, you're gonna have to cut out gluten just because it's so inflammatory. And so we just decided to do that no matter what. And at first I didn't like notice a change. I hadn't like noticed anything, but now when I do have gluten, which has only been a handful of times, I definitely notice like the next day I feel sick or I have acne or something. That's another thing. My acne was really bad. My acne was the worst it's ever been. For reference, here is a photo of kind of one of the worser times, I'd say. And here's a photo of like my skin now. It's definitely not perfect, like in the slightest, but it is so much better. And I'll get kind of in more to like my skincare routine and what changed about that. But taking out gluten is definitely a factor for my skin personally. I also cut out whole milk just because I noticed that was giving me acne as well. I still definitely like, well, I don't avoid milk. I just like don't stop putting whole milk in my like coffee and things like that. Speaking of coffee, one of the biggest things that I've really changed how I feel when I stopped drinking coffee on an empty stomach. I cannot shut up about this. I have been doing this for like a year now and I feel so sick now anytime I drink coffee on an empty stomach. It doesn't matter if it's first thing in the morning or what. Anytime I drink it on an empty stomach, it hurts. It does not feel good. I feel like you get the crash out after a certain while. And the crazy thing is that it's even when it's decaffeinated, it still happens to me. Like I still feel sick when I drink it on an empty stomach. People always talk about drinking water before you drink coffee, which is super important too, but I don't think enough people are realizing like how bad it is to drink coffee on an empty stomach. If you're interested in that, definitely look it up. I know it like is really bad for your cortisol levels and things like that. I also, like I said, I cut out caffeine for the most part. I did really strict no caffeine for about like a month or two, I want to say, and I definitely noticed like a difference. Like I wasn't having like withdrawals anymore. I used to like get really bad headaches when I didn't drink caffeine and stuff like that. and I don't really know how much it improved like me avoiding my daily slump. I feel like I still definitely get into that a little bit, but I do notice that I don't have such as hard of a crash when I don't drink caffeine. I have since though implemented matcha, and I do feel like I notice a difference. Like I'm not getting headaches when I don't drink that. I feel like it's a little bit more of like a gentle source of caffeine. Just like not being reliant on something like caffeine for my diet has made a really big difference. Another thing I cut from my diet was soda. My mom was like, every single doctor ever talks about how bad soda is for you. And when I got into my doctor's office, the first thing they asked me, they were like, how much soda do you drink? And I was like, well, I don't drink it anymore, but I used to have like, I don't know, a couple sodas a week. Like, and from Utah, people be having like 2 or 3 sodas a day, okay? They still were just like, it is so bad for you. And honestly, like, I've been fine without it. I drink like sparkling waters now, and I've been totally fine. Every now and then it is like so hard when everyone's like has their drinks, and I'm just like, bruh. But cutting out soda, I also don't drink or smoke or anything like that. So obviously I would be taking that out too, but I don't do that in the first place. So soda is my version of alcohol, and I took that out. Another really huge thing for me was when I moved here, my sleep insomnia kind of healed itself. If you're someone who deals with insomnia, and I did for the 6 months that I was in college, I don't even know if it was 6 months, it was probably more like 4 months, 4 or 5 months that I was in college. Actually, even before that too, I was dealing with really bad insomnia. Like I would just fall asleep and I couldn't stay asleep. I would be up from like 3 to 6 in the morning. Sometimes I would just like not go back to bed, and I just like was up till 3 in the morning, from 3 in the morning, like. And when I moved here, the change of environment and the change of lifestyle, like it kind of healed itself. I did like literally a week ago have it kick back up again, and I was like, it was a little bit hard, but I think I've since kind of figured it out. Like I since started really analyzing like what was causing it, where that was coming from. My tips with insomnia is really just because sleep affects your health so much. Like I cannot stress that enough. Like your sleep, at least especially what I've noticed for myself, like my sleep so much affects my mood, my health, my energy levels. I mean, obviously, but like so much more than you'd think. The fact that like I really do think that my insomnia was causing my liver to kind of be freaking out. Like I really do think that that was like a huge factor in it. And honestly, what was causing the insomnia is just stress. I was controlling my stress levels during the day, and then at night, everything that I wasn't processing in the day would be coming up at night, and I'd be getting like stress dreams, and I would be up all night and I couldn't figure out why. I think the biggest tip that I've heard with dealing with insomnia is that you can't, it's like the law of attraction, you can't be chasing it or it's not gonna work. You can't try and force yourself to have good sleep. You can't be doing absolutely everything you've heard in the book and then be going to bed and be like, okay, I better sleep good tonight. I did all these things. I did this meditation. I did this, I did that. And then you're not gonna have a good night of sleep. Like you can't, sleep is natural and you can't be chasing it. You have to let it happen. Therefore, I've noticed I have better nights of sleep when I don't stress out so much about my night routine, although I do love that my night routine sets me up for the next day. But sometimes a wind down routine is not gonna help you with your sleep. Sometimes you need to do all your wind down stuff earlier in the day so that you're ready, so that everything's ready for nighttime. And then at night, you actually are supposed to like wind up. I had it like explained to me, somebody like was explaining that like toddlers get like the bedtime zoomies, and they'll like get out all of this excess energy so that way then when it's time to sleep, they like come down. They're like, hey, you have to let out all of the energy that's still pent up in your body before you go to sleep. So you shouldn't be like going about your day and then like trying to wind down, getting ready for bed, because you still have energy that's left here. So you need to like get it out before you can like calm down. That has been a really big help for me personally, is just to realize like I don't need to be doing like this whole night routine, although it does really help me. I've just kind of figured out a way to like get those things done before I even start my night routine, and then just like going to bed when it's like, oh, I'm tired. I will also say a huge thing for me was not going on my phone before bed, and everyone talks about this, but like I had a couple nights where I was like, oh, I'm so tired, I'm not even gonna, like I don't even want to scroll, and I slept so good that now like every single night, with the exception of some nights, I like really just like don't go on my phone, and I like once I'm in bed I just like set my phone down and I just hit the pillow, and like I'm sleeping so good. I really do think that not chasing the sleep is like key, but it's something that you kind of have to like work towards. It's definitely a mental state that you have to change to just accept that like I'm gonna sleep good tonight and I'm not even worried about it. And you have to fully believe that. There's a whole science behind that. If you struggle with insomnia, definitely like do your research. I am sure it'll be something that throughout my life it comes in waves, and I think that's how it is for a lot of people. But being here really has helped. And also is showing me like how stressed I was in my last environment. I think part of it is that I was in a dorm and I had a roommate, and I think I just don't sleep well with somebody else in the room. And I think that was really hard for me, which I didn't know until I didn't have that. And then I was like, oh, I am doing a lot better with like my own space, even though my roommate was like actually the sweetest ever. Another lifestyle change that I made, which just kind of happened naturally, was like getting movement back into my routine, right? Like I had been weightlifting for the last like month or two of college. It was great to have in my routine. I didn't really feel like it was doing that much. I just also don't really know if weightlifting is totally for me. Like I'll continue to do it, but I don't think it's really my outlet of like physical activity. But now that I'm here, I've had so many outlets and opportunities to just gain more movement. And I think that that movement has like been such a game changer for me. My body, it just is like in such better shape. I started putting on more weight again, which is like a good thing. I know weight is like such a touchy topic, but for me, I was having a really hard time gaining healthy weight, and I was like below what I should have been. But like being back here and having healthy diet and having good movement in my body has like been slowly putting on its back healthy weight for the most part. And it's just insane to me how much my body itself has changed and feels and looks in such a short amount of time. There's two more things that I want to talk about, which is like skincare. Acne is such a journey, and I've struggled with acne since I was 13, and I've had things that totally worked for a certain amount of time and then they stopped working when your hormones change. I've had times where I've tried things for like a year and it didn't work. I've tried a lot of things. I've tried a natural route, I've tried medication. The reason I tried to go on Accutane, and that's how I found out that my liver was bad, is when they did the blood test for that. But that's the point I was at, where I was like, I'm gonna do Accutane. But I'm so glad I didn't, because my skin is great now, and I think it's really genuinely good because I've been healing my body, and my skin was just a reflection of what was going on the inside. That's the biggest thing to note with acne, is that whatever is going on in your skin on the outside is just a reflection of what's happening on the inside, whether that's hormonal, dietary, topical things go inside, and so it's like your body's not reacting to it well from the inside. For me, I think mine are very much hormonal and dietary, so taking out the milk and the gluten has drastically changed things. I definitely have noticed a difference in my overall skin, just I think from healing my insides and things like that. This is what I'm doing for my skincare. I cut out all actives for the most part, with the exception that like once a week I'll do the Ordinary's AHA BHA exfoliant mask, and then the cleanser that I use is the CeraVe salicylic acid one. So technically salicylic acid isn't active, but besides that, I've just noticed that when I'm using like harsh actives, my skin barrier just really like crumbles very easily. So what I'm doing right now is that in the morning I use an Elements hypochlorous acid spray, which kills bacteria, and then I will put on, after that's completely dried, I will put on a vitamin C, vitamin E oil, and then I put on aloe vera that's formulated for your face. It's a lot more thin than normal aloe vera gel. This has been amazing because aloe vera moisturizes without increasing oil production. I honestly feel like I've noticed the most difference from using this aloe vera gel. I also really do love the vitamin C serums I've been using though. And then the last thing I do is I put on a silver gel. I don't really know exactly where you get silver gel. I don't know if that's something that you can just get online, but it's literally just like liquidized silver. Silver has healing properties in it, and it's like also an antibacterial ointment. So it's very similar to like a Neosporin type of concept. And I've started to put it all over my face, and I feel like it's very much helped my skin heal. And then at night, it's pretty much the same except for my CeraVe SA cleanser. Then I do the aloe vera, then the silver gel. And then for my moisturizer, I've been using the beef tallow. I'm sure you've seen it all over TikTok if you're on the skincare side of TikTok. I do really love it. Like I notice like my skin just feels so good in the morning. But take everything I say with a grain of salt, because everyone's skin is so different, and I think that's what's so hard about it, is that you can try a million things and it still won't work for you because everyone's skin is different. I did, however, start implementing pantothenic acid into my supplements. And that is definitely something that if you're interested in that, you need to research that to know how much you need to be taking, whether you can take it. I did some research and asked a couple people. I asked some doctors and things about whether it'd be good with my liver and all of this stuff. But I got the okay to be implementing it. So I take the Jarrow brand of Pantothene, and then I'm also taking pantothenic acid. What that does is it kills the bacteria that causes acne from the inside. And I want to say that that's probably also made a big difference in my skin, but really it could be a huge list of things. So that's where I'm at with my skin, and I'm very happy. Like, it's not perfect. I also will say I work at a tanning salon, and so like when I'm tan, my acne isn't as visible. I do use the red light, which I also think has made a really big difference with my skin healing. I feel like every time after I do the red light, I just like notice a difference in my face. The other thing that I want to talk to you guys about is all my supplements that I've been taking. For what I know, majority of this could have so much to do with the supplements I've been taking, and they've kind of varied throughout the month. Okay, I'm just gonna run through my supplements really fast. I have a lot of them. Some of them I take once a day, some of them I take multiple a day. All of them are really just targeted to either something I'm deficient in, my liver health, or for my skin. The first thing is this BPC 157. This is a peptide that I'm taking to heal my stomach lining. Then I have NAC. I take this once a day, I believe. This is for my skin. This is beef liver to help my liver. A B1 complex. This is jaropanthine for my skin. This is pantothenic acid also for my skin. Turmeric, which is just something that has a lot of benefits. And then a D3 and a K2. There's a couple other things that I take that I have ordered more of. I like to take an iron supplement. I also taking, I think it's L-carnitine. I think that's how you say it. That I take for my skin as well. And I think that's everything that I'm taking. Definitely do your research before you start taking any sort of supplements. Okay, I'm sure this was kind of like all over the place. I feel like I just gave like a really random list of all of these things, but I figured I'd give you guys kind of an update because I kind of like mentioned it and then never really talked about it again. And it has been a really big part of me being here, is noticing that I am healthier. And I want to say the biggest overall thing that I think has made a difference is the change in my environment. I think I'm just happier in an environment like this, and I have no regrets in leaving school and moving out of state, because I can literally see in my body that I'm happier and healthy here now that I'm out of a stressful situation. And if you feel like you're not your best physically, mentally, whatever it is, you have the power to make those changes, and you need to make changes that are best for you. Because if I hadn't done this, I would not look the way I look. I wouldn't feel the way I feel, and who knows where my health would be at, who knows how my liver would be doing. And it just really reinstated to me that like, yes, I made the right decision in coming here. And so that's why I kind of wanted to share this with you guys, because it's been a part of my gap year journey, is to figure out my health stuff, especially because in Wyoming I wasn't gonna have great doctors. And so that's part of why I was like, I need to get out of school, I need to focus on my health. Like, I'm clearly not doing well, and I just want to give you guys a little update now that it's been a couple months. And I will probably continue to give you guys updates on things as I start implementing different things and trying different things, and still doing testing and making sure that I'm healthy. And I hope that, you know, another 6 months from now, I'm feeling and looking even better than I do right now. But remember that you are beautiful and your health is important. Don't be afraid to make a change if you feel like it's necessary for you. Okay, love ya!